My brother Mark, 40, won the lottery when he was 20. It was $1,000 a week for life. He was young and wanted to travel. He dropped out of school and has spent his entire adulthood basically seeing the world. He comes home to visit every few years, and we FaceTime with him when he's near a signal. He doesn't travel first class or stay in expensive resorts, so he's actually built up some nice savings. He came home with a girlfriend, Haley, 28 this year. They met when they got stuck in South America during the global issue. She's been traveling since she graduated from university, and she works out of a laptop. I, female 54, live in the same city where I was born. I love it here. I love being close to my parents and my grandchildren, and most of my siblings. Mark hated being the youngest of 8 and always swore he would not have kids. Our parents were older when they had him, and they didn't have energy for him, truth be told. Mark came home when he was 30 and told all that he had a vasectomy and would not contribute to the world population. Haley's a pretty young thing, and she's also intelligent and sweet. I can understand why anyone would fall in love with her. We were having a family barbecue to celebrate Mark being in town. There were maybe 30 people in my parents' yard and house. I was talking to Haley about her future plans now that the world opened up again. She said that she was ready to settle down and start a family. I asked if they planned on adopting from one of the countries that they had traveled to, or if they'd try North America. She said that they had talked about it and would be having at least one child of their own. This may be where I messed up. I asked where Mark had gotten his procedure reversed, or if they were having in vitro fertilization. She went very quiet and went over to Mark. They spoke and they left. Mark called me later that night to scream at me for ruining his life. He hadn't told her, and he was planning to continue to travel and maybe adopt if they decided. He said I shared private medical information and that he never wanted to see me again. I apologized over and over. I seriously had no way of knowing that he was planning a future with this girl without telling her a pretty big piece of the puzzle might be missing. I feel bad for him, but I think he should have told her. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your brother wanted to build his marriage on a lie. That poor girl would have gone through years of a living nightmare trying to get pregnant, and society immediately assumes there's something wrong with the woman if she can't get pregnant, only to find out he had been snipped. And then she would have wasted her most fertile years. If she didn't want kids or only wanted to adopt, then it wouldn't have been your business to say anything. But she wants a natural child, and it would have been cruel to hide the truth from her. Your brother's mad that his lie got out. He was going to try and run out the clock. There are a few deal-breaker topics you should cover before the wedding, before engagement really, and kids are a big one. If he was willing to lie and deceive on this one, I'd wonder what else he was lying to me about. This is all his fault for being a lying idiot. It is not your responsibility to keep his secrets, especially if you don't know it's a secret. She dodged a bullet. Honestly, how could you have known he didn't tell her? She brought it up, so most would assume she was aware. He's an idiot for not telling her, which is on him. Probably why he lashed out at you, because he knows it was wrong. You did this woman a huge favor. You showed her that Mark doesn't care about what she wants in life as long as he gets what he wants. From someone who was once married to a guy like that, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm a 23-year-old woman. I recently started living by myself, and I decided to host a housewarming dinner and get-together. The invite list was fairly small, 5 family members and 3 friends. My apartment is quite small, so that was enough to be cramped, LOL. I called everybody beforehand to ensure whatever I was cooking would adhere to dietary restrictions and allergies, etc. A few people asked if they could bring other foods, wines, drinks, etc., and I said sure. It happened last night, and I had basically cooked a scaled-down Thanksgiving meal, smallish turkey, chicken, potatoes, mac and cheese, and salad. I also expected other people to bring stuff. Almost everyone did, and it turned into a potluck situation. My brother, 19, came a bit late, which isn't unusual, but he had a woman whom he introduced as his girlfriend in tow. I didn't really have a problem with it. I thought it would have been nice for him to tell me she was coming, but from the way he explained it, it was a last-minute decision. We're all standing around my tiny table, praying, and when we're done, it's time for food. My brother's girlfriend asked what was vegan at the table and said she'd been eyeing a few things. I said I hadn't cooked anything vegan, but one of my vegetarian friends had. It was some kind of stuffed peppers thing. I wasn't expecting to have a vegan, so I wasn't prepared, but his girlfriend seemed really upset. My brother pulled me aside about an hour later and said it wasn't really good hosting to only have one dish for her to eat. To be fair, she did look left out just eating stuffed peppers, and I did feel bad, but when my brother suggested I order her some food to make up for it, I said no. Vegan food is quite expensive where I live, and I'd already gone over my budget for the month with my dinner. I told him he was welcome to order it, but I couldn't afford another $25 to $30 on one meal for her. There was no big scene or anything. He stayed until the end of the night, and she stayed too. I told her she was welcome to raid the fridge because I was sure I had some food that suited her, but she didn't take me up on the offer. This morning, however, he called and said that I should have at least ordered for her, considering I only had one dish she could eat, and that it was insulting to her to be told she could just go through the fridge like some rat or something. Now I'm conflicted. Last night, I didn't feel that bad for not ordering, but today I do, based on what he said and how she felt. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You don't crash a party and then get mad because nothing is to your liking. That's not how this works. If he had given you notice, you could have prepared a few dishes. But for her to be a literal stranger and get mad because you didn't cook food to her taste is ridiculous on her part and your brother's. I'm willing to bet the girlfriend didn't know she was unannounced, and all of her irritation is aimed at the brother, who then directed it onto his sister to try and save face himself. He forgot to let his sister know that A, his girlfriend was coming, and B, she was vegan, which became very obvious to his girlfriend when they showed up. OP's brother is the idiot. He created the situation by bringing a guest unannounced with atypical food preferences. Is there some sort of expectation to cook a vegan dish just in case a vegan turns up? Yeesh. OP, you can only cook food for people you know exist. Your brother is entitled and rude. Why didn't he order her food? Or, bring anything, like almost everyone else did. Update. So, this morning, I woke up to a message from my brother's girlfriend. As many of you suggested, she wasn't aware that she wasn't formally invited. My brother had forgotten to ask and simply assumed she'd be welcome, which she was, of course. She apologized for seeming down and asked if she had ruined the dinner, which I assured her she had not. She explained that she was expecting more from what my brother said and was just a little disappointed. There are no hard feelings surrounding it. As I said before, she was a very sweet girl. She was just in an uncomfortable situation, in an unfamiliar place, with people she was meeting for the first time. Thank you all for the kind words. I was planning to act on some of it, but my brother and his girlfriend beat me to it with their explanations and apologies. My fiance has a long history of either making no effort to learn basic tasks or doing them poorly, so I have to redo them. One time she called me while I was at work, asking me to come to change her tire because she got a flat. I told her I couldn't leave work because I had an important meeting and she must change it herself. She called me again 3 hours later, asking if my meeting was over and if I could help now. I asked why she didn't just put on her spare tire, to which she said she didn't know how. So instead, she went in, got food at a cafe nearby, and left her car. I asked why in 2 hours she didn't just Google how to change a tire. She said her dad had always come and changed her tire for her. I was pretty annoyed and I told her I'm not her dad. so she'll need to learn how to do these types of things, but ultimately left work to help her change the tire. She also hasn't attempted to learn how to change a tire since then. We recently bought a home, and it's the first time we have a yard. We split chores evenly. In reality, I end up doing more on top of all the cooking. I mowed the first week, and when the second week rolled around, I pointed out that it was her turn, since the grass was getting long, and the next day was one of the few days where it wouldn't be extremely hot. She looked puzzled because apparently, she just assumed I was always going to be the one to mow. She said she didn't know how to start the mower, so I showed her how to start it, adjust the height, add gas, etc., and she agreed to mow the next day. I came home from work, and she hadn't mowed, and I asked why. She said she couldn't start the mower. It's a brand new Honda mower that's the easiest thing to start on earth. Annoyingly, the mower was in the exact spot from the day before, so I know she didn't even try. Recently, we bought new light switches, her request, since the old ones were ugly and cream-colored. There were about 16 of them in total that needed to be swapped out. I told her I'd swap out the ones downstairs if she did the ones upstairs. I did mine that day, and she said she'd do hers later. Well, 5 weeks passed, and I asked if she was ever going to swap them out. She told me she couldn't figure it out. Mind you, I'd never done this before either, but I watched a 5-minute YouTube video and just read the instructions, and it was pretty easy. I ask again if she's going to do them, and she says, I'll probably just leave them as is, since they don't look that bad. I was furious. She was the one who wanted them. I bought them. Because she took so long to do it, they were past the return date, so basically, I'm forced to do it. I told her I was tired of her weaponized incompetence, and she said she was not doing it on purpose. So then I told her maybe it was just regular incompetence then. She's still upset at me. Am I the idiot? I can understand her not wanting to change the tire, especially if it's in a dangerous area. But dang, there are a bunch of options she could have chosen within those 3 hours. Not the idiot, but I think you've enabled her to this point. The problem is she doesn't make an effort and knows almost no matter what that you'll just do the job for her. The red flag is waving right in your face. You're going to be in an extremely unhappy and potentially short marriage if this cannot be resolved. If you were a woman posting about her boyfriend who refuses to learn to do dishes or sweep the floor, these comments would be applauding you. She's intentionally refusing to learn how to do these chores, so you end up having to do them. Stop enabling her. I don't think this is weaponized incompetence, because these aren't at all common jobs anyone can feel comfortable doing. Lawn mowing is the exception. Maybe it's just me, but I know loads of men and women who can't or don't change tires or change their light switches. There's a very real danger of doing it wrong. But if a man or woman pretends they don't see mess or can't do dishes or laundry, that's a different story, because they're such basic tasks that are required regularly for any adult. You are the idiot. Changing a tire requires a lot of muscle. Switching out a lighting fixture? Heck no, I'd electrocute myself. Mowing the lawn is also a big heck no. I'm a petite woman with no upper body strength. Dividing chores does not mean splitting every chore in half. You're so bent on her doing her fair share that you've become a big jerk. Most women didn't get the same type of life skills passed down to them as men did. My brother can do any construction project because my father taught him how. I wasn't even allowed to go into Dad's workshop. Consider making a list of chores and find a happy medium. What kind of adult doesn't know what prune juice is? A bunch of us are out at my parents' lake house, including my siblings with families, myself, my wife, and our newborn. Because of the baby, my wife has been having tummy issues. She doesn't want to take medication because she's breastfeeding, so she's been drinking prune juice mixed with freshly squeezed grapefruit juice, and she adds in a little natural fiber. It's in the fridge, and she has a big label saying, "Leah's juice, do not drink." Well, my brother's currently cursing me out of the bathroom because he ran out of the mix when drinking vodka, and rather than getting one of the kids to drive him to the grocery store on the golf cart, he decided to use my wife's juice as a mix. So he's intoxicated, and the prune juice has taken effect. He says that I'm an idiot for not warning him about the juice. The juice is plainly labeled as belonging to my wife. He thought it was just her juice because she's a new mom and wanted special juice all to herself. I don't feel bad at all. I've already gone to the market and got more prune juice and grapefruits. But regardless, he feels that I'm an idiot for not telling him the juice was a bad idea. He says the label on the bottle wasn't really a warning. It was just a sign of ownership. I think he's an idiot for drinking my wife's drink, but he thinks I'm the idiot for not putting an actual warning label on the bottle. Oh look, it's the consequences of his own actions. You are not the idiot. This is hilarious. You should tell him it also has a placenta in it. It was clearly labeled, "Do not drink." Not your problem. Good on you for getting more for your wife to replace what your brother drank. Your bro can be upset, but I guarantee he'll never forget what prune juice does. I thought it was fine, as long as she was the only one inconvenienced. This wasn't supposed to affect me. LOL. Surely he was warned not to steal before now. His ignorance, greed, and lack of respect for others landed him in the crap. How he thinks anyone else is to blame is unfathomable. He owes your wife an apology for stealing from her clearly marked container. He owes you an apology for spewing his anger and for blaming you for stealing from your wife. Let him suffer the kiss of the brown dragon and let it be a lesson. On Monday, my pre-tween son came home missing his front tooth. It was a bit wiggly, but not ready to be pulled. I asked what happened, and he showed me his baby tooth in a baggie and said the nurse pulled it out. What? I emailed his teacher and said my son was wiggling it a lot and asked him if his tooth was about to fall out. And my son said he didn't know and sent him to the nurse. He said he was expecting her to look and to call me if it was ready to come off. Instead, she pulled it out, and my son was uncomfortable with it. He said it hurt. I spoke with her today and said she had zero business doing that. She said his tooth was pretty loose, and she was worried he might swallow it. I said, then why didn't you call me? You're not a dentist, and you caused him pain. She said she's been a school nurse for years. I said, then you should have known better, and you're a disgrace and unprofessional. I did go to the vice principal, who confirmed that it is not within a school's nurse scope to pull teeth, and she said she'd have notified me instead. She was angry that the school nurse didn't even send a note that he saw her, which is standard practice. She did tell me I could have toned down the daddy bear a bit. OMG, not the idiot. I'm horrified on your son's behalf. That is not okay in any way, OP. Under common law, a school nurse can't do that without express permission or in an emergent situation, which does not apply at all here. I hope she learns from this, but sorry your son had to be the example that'll teach her. She did something she was not clear to do, which I'm pretty sure is illegal. What if the tooth wasn't fully ready to come out and something had gone wrong? You said your son told you he felt pain. He was scared. He likely never wants to see her again. So don't tone it down. Report her. Sue her. Wow, this story is full of ridiculous idiots itself. People screaming, file a lawsuit? File complaints with the Board of Nursing. It's assault. Are crazy. It was a loose baby tooth. You are the idiot, OP. Every parent in this world helps their kid lose their baby teeth. Not many of them are dentists. Even if the nurse should have contacted you before, it's okay that he got it out. You would have pulled it out anyway at home. She's the school nurse. Have some respect. If a dentist was needed, she would have called one. This is not a major medical procedure. You should have thanked the nurse for helping him and ensuring he got the tooth. Otherwise, he might have eaten it with his lunch or accidentally swallowed it, and that can cause harm. She caused him pain? We've all survived the trauma of losing our baby teeth. Few of us had a nurse around when it happened. Dude, calm down.